Hi, and welcome to the EIS's Health and Wellbeing program on nutrition and the relationship between what you eat and how you feel. This is Food Equals Mood. My name is Christina Starko, and before we begin, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I received my Bachelor of Arts from the University of Victoria in Victoria, British Columbia, where I focused on history and religious studies and food culture. I recently received my advanced diploma in nutrition and weight management and have since become a member of the Royal Society for Public Health. So, without further ado, let's begin. Something I'd like you to think about as we go through this presentation is this question. Could it be true that our food choices affect the functioning of our minds to the same extent that they affect the health of our hearts and our stomachs? I'd like to begin with a case study from Dr. Regan Chatterjee. Dr. Regan Chatterjee is a very popular and famous doctor here in the UK. He's been featured on the BBC's Doctor in the House and has written a number of popular books, including The Stress Solution, which is where this case study is taken from. If you ever do have a spare moment, I do recommend reading The Stress Solution. It is absolutely outstanding. This is Biba's case study. Biba is a patient of Dr. Chatterjee. She suffers from anxiety, panic attacks, stress from the moment she wakes up to the moment that she goes to sleep, and PTSD from a past incident on a motorway. It's important to note that as well as seeing Dr. Chatterjee, Biba is also seeing a counselor. However, she often becomes disengaged with her psychotherapy and will just stop going. Dr. Chatterjee noticed this and also noticed that Biba was coping with her stress and anxiety by making her life easier. She was making her life easier by eating easier. She would have cereals for breakfast and those high street meal deals that we all know so well. She would eat biscuits with her coffee and her tea to fill her up at snack time, and she would have the odd sausage roll on her way home from work. For dinner, she would have pre-made ready meals that she would often find in the frozen section and just simply defrost and cook in the microwave. Dr. Chatterjee recommended to Biba that she try changing her diet. However, Biba was not convinced. How could a change in diet help her anxiety, her panic attacks, her stress, her PTSD? However, after a little bit of convincing, Biba and Dr. Chatterjee came up with 5 easy meals that Biba could make and enjoy. These meals were natural and contained minimally processed foods. The meals also included a good range of colorful fruits and vegetables. After 6 weeks, Biba's mood became more stable and her anxiety reduced by around 70%. Now, it's important to understand that her problems didn't vanish completely overnight. However, after 6 weeks, Biba was able to break the cycle and cope emotionally with her psychotherapy, which she previously found so hard. In short, her life began to transform with a little change to her diet. Food is information. A 3-way interaction takes place from the moment we eat. Think about eating a ham and cheese sandwich. This produces carbs, which give us energy, protein, which goes to our muscles, and fat, which goes to our thighs, bum, and belly, and is stored for later use. We never think of the sandwich as being read by the body, but that in reality is what's happening. Our body is reading the food, and the nature of the information is a result of a 3-way interaction. So who's talking to who? When we talk about having that gut feeling or butterflies in our stomach, we reveal that we've always intuitively known that there's a direct line of communication between the digestive system and the brain. There are several communication superhighways between the gut and the brain, and they're collectively known as the gut-brain axis. Research on this is ongoing, but as far as we know, information flows from the gut to the brain via the lymphatic system, which is a network of tissues and organs that help rid the body of toxins, waste, and other unwanted materials. We also know that some information travels to the brain via the bloodstream. However, there is actually a direct line of communication between the brain and the gut that we're just uncovering, and it's through the longest nerve in the body, the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is one of the most important highways in the gut-brain axis, and it's bidirectional, which means the brain can talk to the gut and the gut can talk to the brain. A key part of this information system comes from an incredible and mysterious world. Your gut is inhabited by massive populations of different bugs, bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites, and their respective genetic material, so essentially their waste. If you were to take all of these gut bugs and put them together, they would weigh as much as the average human brain, which is about 1.7 kilograms. So maybe we aren't as human as we thought. Possibly more interesting is that what you eat can influence these gut bugs, and they can tell your brain how you're feeling. So, what you eat goes down into your stomach, is eaten by the gut bugs, and your gut bugs are able to tell your body, or your brain rather, if you're happy or if you're sad. Studies on animals find that an abundance of gut bugs increases our reactivity to stress. This has given these bugs the name our brain's peacekeepers. So, how do we keep the peace? We need to have a diverse diet. In developed countries, such as us here in the UK, people eat a greater variety of foodstuffs than ever before. But it doesn't mean we're well nourished. In fact, many people do not eat enough nutrients that are essential for good brain health. Opting for a diet of heavily processed food containing artificial additives and sugar, much like Biba, certainly is not keeping the peace. To keep our peacekeepers happy, we need the right stuff. So, what is that? Well, our gut bugs love fruits and vegetables. They are a great source of fiber and different vitamins and minerals that the body needs to function. And eating more than our 5 a day of fruits and vegetables can significantly reduce our risk of heart disease and cancer. The next thing that our gut bugs love are legumes. Legumes include beans, peas, lentils, chickpeas, and they are rich in fiber and protein. A number of studies have shown that eating legumes is associated with a lower risk of mortality. Whole grains are also incredibly important, and our gut bugs love them as well. Whole grains are rich in fiber, and a high intake of whole grains can reduce blood pressure and can reduce your risk of cancer. Finally, there are nuts. Nuts are great sources of fiber, protein, and polyunsaturated and monounsaturated fats, or good fats. These combined with a healthy diet can also reduce your rate of mortality. So, in short, vegetables, legumes, nuts, whole grains all allow the gut bugs to notify the brain by sending flashes of information through the vagus nerve directly to your brain, indicating that everything is okay. But it's not just our gut bugs and our brain that are involved in the constant conversation. There is one more player. Much like the President of the United States has a food tester, we ourselves have a built-in food tester. It's our immune system. Part of our immune system's job is to sample every single thing we eat, checking to see if it's okay or if it's harmful. If it's harmful, the immune system will trigger something called inflammation. Inflammation is one of our basic and ancient evolved responses to stress. It puts our bodies into a state of high alert. Humans are designed to experience inflammation in short, sharp doses. For example, getting a cut on our finger or skinning our knee. However, when the body experiences long periods of inflammation, we call this chronic inflammation. And chronic inflammation is at the heart of a number of serious complaints often seen in doctors' offices and surgeries every single day. Some examples are insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure, and depression. The food that we eat, our gut bugs, and our immune system are all immediately linked. The right kind of food promotes a healthy gut and happy gut bugs. In turn, our gut bugs help train the immune system, which in turn produces a critical type of cell called regulatory T cells. These cells help dial down the immune system's response, reducing inflammation and keeping us out of a stress state. So, in short, good food plus happy gut bugs plus a happy immune system plus less inflammation equals less stress. Most of our gut bugs live in the depths of the large intestine. And though this seems like a safe cave for them, they're actually very vulnerable. Our modern diets have declared war on our gut bugs and our immune system. A large-scale multinational study published in April 2020 found that more than 40% of persons worldwide have a functional gastrointestinal disorder or disorders of the gut-brain interaction, which of course will affect your quality of life. What could be causing this? 40% of the world's population is a huge percentage. Take a moment and think what in our diets is causing this. So here is a list of what is causing that 40% of gastrointestinal disorders. Additives, emulsifiers, pesticides, artificial sweeteners, the overuse of antibiotics or other medications like heartburn medications, a lack of diversity in our diet, lack of sleep, smoking, drinking too much alcohol, and sugary soft drinks. In the 1800s, we ate about 10 pounds or 4.5 kilograms of sugar per year per person. In 2020, we ate 154 pounds or 68.9 kilograms of sugar per year per person. That is over 15 times more sugar. Now, before I continue, I need to clarify a point that I made about antibiotics and other medications. In no way am I anti-antibiotic. It is just important to know that the overuse of antibiotics can harm your gut bugs. However, if you are prescribed antibiotics, it is important that you continue taking them as these are life-saving tools. Now, if anything on that list applied to you, don't worry. In today's world, most of us have probably experienced that entire list. We can't change the past, but we can make positive changes to improve our gut health in the future. Some changes include reading ingredients lists. Additives are often lurking where you least expect them. Check the ingredients list and see if you can find another option that has a shorter ingredients list. Another good rule of thumb is that if you can't read the ingredient out loud, or better yet, a 5-year-old can't read the ingredient out loud, you should not be buying that product. You can try eating a more diverse diet full of fruits and vegetables. Your gut bugs love those, and that can help reverse some of the damage done. Try drinking alcohol only on weekends or reducing your alcohol consumption altogether. These changes seem small, however, I would like to share with you one of my all-time favorite studies. It shows on a large scale what a little change can do. This is the SMILES trial. It is a 2017 gold standard randomized controlled test. The SMILES trial is where they took a group of 37 patients who were undergoing treatment for severe depression. They divided this group of 37 individuals in half. Half of the group became part of the social support group or the control group. This group continued to go to psychotherapy and were prescribed antidepressants. The other half of the group were assigned to the nutrition group. This group were given access to psychotherapy, but as opposed to being given antidepressants, they were prescribed a diet, a modified Mediterranean diet that included oily fish, colorful fruits and vegetables, and whole grains. The study baffled scientists and has led to it being used today for scientists to come up with a better, more effective, and natural way of treating depression. So what happened? After 12 weeks, the social support group came back. Now, to recap, this is the control group that is being prescribed antidepressants and given psychotherapy. After the 12 weeks lapsed, these individuals came back, and 8% of the group was found to be in remission from their severe depression. And then after 12 weeks, the nutrition group came back. Now, again, the nutrition group was given psychotherapy, but they were prescribed that modified Mediterranean diet. And after 12 weeks, over 1/3 of the individuals were found to be in remission from their severe depression. This diet has multiple aspects that are beneficial to our mental health. There's a lack of highly processed foods and a presence of whole foods such as colorful fruits and vegetables and good omega-3s from fish, which keep our gut bugs happy and our immune systems calm. This reduces inflammation, which is the root cause of depression. With our immune system and our gut bugs happy, the positive messages are sent up to the brain. The diet in the study is also incredibly interesting because the nutrition aspects have a number of parallels to our next topic. Blue zones. Blue zones are regions of the world where a higher than usual number of people live, much longer than average. There are 5 blue zones. Take a moment and have a look at the map and see if you can indicate where you think the 5 blue zones are. The 5 blue zones are Loma Linda, California, the Nicoya Peninsula in Costa Rica, Sardinia, Italy, Ikaria, Greece, and Okinawa, Japan. The people inhabiting blue zones share common lifestyle characteristics that contribute to their longevity. So what are these commonalities? Well, let's start with family. In the blue zones, we see that family is incredibly important. In 2018, myself and my partner had the pleasure of traveling to Sardinia, Italy, to witness this firsthand. We saw the importance of family time and family meals, and we noticed that there was no technology ever present around or near the dinner table, the lunch table, or the breakfast table. We also noticed that there was less smoking. Now, not to say that nobody in Sardinia smoked, but there was definitely less nicotine use. There's also the constant moderate physical activity. Now, this doesn't mean people were running marathons. People are walking. There's a daily walk that takes place. It's almost religious. Now, for those who are older, they would stop at a cafe and get a small glass of wine or a cup of coffee, but they would always complete their walk. And it didn't matter on the type of weather. There was always this moderate activity that was taking place every day in their lives. One thing that blue zones have in common with regards to food is that those who live there primarily eat 95% plant-based. Although most groups are not strict vegans or vegetarians, they only tend to eat meat around 5 times per month. When I say meat, I'm talking about white meat such as pork and chicken, and red meat such as beef. You will see a higher consumption of fish generally, depending on which blue zone you visit. Blue zones are often typically rich in vegetables, legumes, and fruits, and there is also a reduced consumption of dairy. In short, what I'm saying is eat your rainbow. Eating a more diverse diet is the single best thing we can do to live a more stress-free life. Healthy fruits and vegetables create healthy gut bugs, reduce inflammation, and leave you and your brain feeling great. But when you shop, remember your gut bugs. Pesticides can harm them. Which brings me to this. This is the Environmental Working Group, or the EWG's, list of the Dirty Dozen and Clean 15. The EWG is a not-for-profit working out of the United States, which tests the 47 most common grocery store items for pesticides, and that's fruits and vegetables, of course. So they test the 47 most commonly purchased fruits and vegetables for pesticide residues. Now, this is an American list. However, the foods listed here are essentially the same worldwide, and they are tested for the same harmful pesticides that we would see here in the UK or in Canada or in Spain. Let's start with the Dirty Dozen. This list has been published since 2014 and hasn't changed that much. In fact, strawberries and spinach have been at the top of the list of the Dirty Dozen for the last 4 years. So what does that mean? Well, it means that these 12 items are testing the highest for pesticides. So what should you do? Well, the single best thing you can do is buy these products organically. However, I do realize that organic fruits and vegetables can be expensive and sometimes not available. So what do? I'm going to use myself as an example. I love nectarines. Nectarines are almost impossible to find organic, and when you do find them, they are incredibly expensive. So what do? I only purchase nectarines when they're in season. I be sure to wash the fruit under cool water for over 20 seconds. I then eat the fruit mindfully. I just have that one in the day. I don't eat 7 or 8 as much as I want to. I just have the one, and I keep that in mind for what I eat for the rest of the day. Now, I'm not saying don't ever eat a strawberry again. It's just about being mindful. Wash your fruits and vegetables and keep this in mind when you grocery shop. If you can find an organic option that's affordable, absolutely go for it. Your gut bugs will thank you. Now, to the good news. There's also the Clean 15 list. These are the lists, these are the fruits and vegetables that you can purchase without really batting an eyelash. They test the lowest for pesticide residues and can just be added into your shopping cart and you can go about your day. Again, these lists aren't meant to scare you. They're just meant to help you shop more mindfully and understand as a consumer what you're putting into your body. Now, before I leave you today, I'd like to give you some challenges. You can choose to do 1 or 2 or all 4 of them if you'd like. It's really whatever you prefer. The first challenge is try eating 17 to 26 different plant foods a month. If you feel like you eat a very diverse diet right now, try to eat 26 different plant foods a month. It's actually harder than it sounds, but it is great fun and it allows you to be adventurous with your diet. If you find yourself to be not that much of an adventurous eater, start small, try 17, and if that's too much for you, try 10. It's all about just starting somewhere. The next challenge is try buying more organic foods, even if it's 1 or 2 things. Things like spinach and celery are affordable and can be found easily at your local Tesco. The next is be a food adventurer and try one fruit or vegetable a week that you've never tried. A good example of this is a Jerusalem artichoke, which is very similar to a potato, and there is an abundance of recipes that you can find online. There's also celeriac, when roasted, has the consistency of pork, but it can also be eaten raw and is delicious in a salad. And finally, find your inner Nigella Lawson. Try a new recipe, get adventurous, and have some fun with your food. I'd like to thank you so much for listening to this presentation. I loved giving this, and I hope that you found this useful and you learned something new today. Have a lovely rest of your day.